first.
Hello, hello, hello. This is all Alyssa's fault. All of it.
Jail, can you hear me?
Yes.
Person at the jail, are you Jennifer Williams?
Yes, sir.
I have two files. The first number is 251709 OM. That is the people of the city of Cadillac versus Jennifer Leah Williams. And then I have file number 251710 OM. Again, the people of the city of Cadillac versus Jennifer Leah Williams. Ms. Williams, you are brought to court today on a bench warrant for a couple of different things. In file number 251709, it is alleged that you failed to appear for the pretrial on May 28th and failed to appear for the show cause on June 4th, and that you also failed to appear for an arraignment on June 12th. In file number 2517 OM, it is alleged that you failed to appear for a pretrial on May 28th, June 4th for the show cause, and for an arraignment on June 12th of 2025. You do have the right to have a contested hearing in this regard. We also have Ms. Stemke present by Zoom, who has been appointed to represent you in these matters. Ms. Stemke, how do we wish to proceed today?
Your Honor, I'd waive formal reading and stand mute to the charges, and I have a plea offer if I could have an opportunity to speak to Miss Williams.
Unfortunately, today I can't do that just
Okay.
because of how congested my docket is. I do understand that you've had a lot of difficulty trying to communicate with her. What I will, and you have to be somewhere. So the court will enter, based on the mute, standing mute, will enter not guilty plea. We'll set the matter for a contested hearing. You do have the right to be considered for bond. Ms. Stemke, is there anything you'd like the court to know regarding bond?
Your Honor, as I've stated previously on the record, I know that she's homeless. Is that correct, Miss Williams?
Yes.
Is there a phone number that we can reach you at?
I don't have a phone because my phones always get stolen. These guys fucking rob me daily, and they take everything they can. They take my money, they take my phones, they take everything.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons why you try to avoid homelessness. I mean, I feel bad. I have empathy. But what do you think?
Is there an amount of money that you could post, Miss Williams?
I have money in my wallet, but I'm pretty sure Ethan probably stole it. Either Ethan or Bobby or somebody has it. I had probably about $30, but it's at the place, at the residence that I'm not allowed to be at. So between Bobby, Ethan Hill, who fucking knows who has my money now?
You're on the record, so be careful what you state, okay, Miss Williams? So just, is there an amount of money you can post? You can post $30?
I don't have any money on me. Bank accounts, I have no how to get into anything. I literally get robbed every single day.
So you have no income at this time?
Nothing. I could probably post some money if I can get a hold of somebody. But as of right now, I have no cash on me. I mean.
And Your Honor, when would court set a pretrial date then if she remains in custody? Is it tomorrow?
I mean, we could do it.
We could do it as early as Wednesday.
Okay.
Or it will be out a couple weeks.
Or it would have to go out a couple weeks, so we'll squeeze it in Wednesday for you.
If I haven't used my one phone call yet, so I mean, I can get a hold of somebody.
Ms. Williams, you have the right to remain silent. I suggest you invoke that right unless asked by your attorney. Anything else regarding bond, Ms. Stemke?
No, Your Honor, I understand you said 300. Doesn't sound like she's gonna be able to post anything at this time. So I'd ask for as early as court date as possible. Wednesday would be fine.
Thank you. Prosecutor's office?
Thank you, Your Honor. Given the defendant's continued failure to appear on multiple dates, I do understand her current situation, not being able to post a bond, but in order to ensure that she does appear in court, whether that is this Wednesday or in the next couple of weeks, I would ask.
Fuck this shit. I'm seriously fucking
Yes.
over it. I'm so fucking sick of this. I'm sick of this goddamn town.
You're on
I'm
the
sick of
record,
this
Miss
bullshit.
Williams.
All I do is get fucked over.
Ms. Williams, I suggest you comport yourself, otherwise I'll hold you in contempt. The court will go ahead and continue the $300 bond as previously set with the bench warrant. The court notes that back on June 11th, the defendant was given a PR bond with a notice time to appear the next day, and she failed to do that. That was given by law enforcement, so we will go ahead, continue the matter for both a contested hearing and pretrial for this coming Wednesday, and continue bond at $300. All other terms remain the same. Next arraignment.
Right, so I missed.
Thank you, Ms. Stemke.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Ms. Scogans, if you could activate your audio and video. All right, I'm not getting a response from Ms. Scogans. I'm going to pass to the next case, which will be Daniel Watford.
Hi, Your Honor. Yes, thank you. Can you hear me okay?
I can, perfect. 250158501. All right, sir, what information did you wish to present in mitigation, or do you want a contested hearing?
I'd like to contest, actually.
Okay, let me pull this up.
Can you hear me?
Oh, I just passed your case. Just be ready. We'll come to you next.
I can't hear.
All right, Ms. Coggins, I'll come back to you after I do Mr. Watford. Okay. All right, Mr. Watford, I'm going to share my screen so we can go over the materials together of what I'm looking at. Okay. I'm going to begin with the notice of infraction. So this is the infraction that was issued on April 30th. The violation date itself was April 24th, 2025 at 6:47 p.m. So speeding in a school walk zone, relates to vehicle, a Chevy Corvette with plate of URINLUV. The location was eastbound on Northeast 178th Street at 37th Avenue Northeast. It was issued to you at the address on the registration. The officer who issued this was Amanda Johnson, the Lake Forest Park Police Department. Officer Johnson has signed under penalty of perjury that on the date and time that I read above, the vehicle was, the operator of the vehicle described above was in violation of RCW 4661-400. That's the speeding statute as enforced by LFP Municipal Code 1008-020 and 1006-010. The location has been posted with photo enforced signs as described in Chapter 1006-010C of the Lake Forest Park Code. Photographs and/or video taken together show the vehicle and its license plate, tray of fare, and accurate representation of the location listed above show that the vehicle was operated to a speed in excess of the posted speed limit. A records check has been completed at the appropriate state licensing department records, and the registered owner of the vehicle at the time of the violation is named above. The posted speed limit is 25 miles per hour, and the actual speed detected was 31. We have these 3 photographs here, which I'm going to go take a closer look at them. So you get, okay, one as the vehicle is entering into the area of the school zone, the school walk zone area.
Did anybody get that
See
plate?
as you're coming into the zone. The next one shows as it's passing through. The data line there provides information. This just shows the close-up of the vehicle, and the plate is how they can issue it through the registration. So that's the same information that was on the infraction that I read.
Every time I think it might not get
And
worse.
The
It
last
does.
piece of evidence is the video, which shows the Corvette driving through the area. I see the school beacon. It is not flashing. The 20-mile-per-hour limit is not being enforced at that time. It just shows the car going through. This is the information, stop my share, that has been presented. I'm going to have you raise your right hand. Do you swear affirm that the testimony you are about to give will be true and accurate?
Yes, I do.
All right, go right ahead, sir.
Okay, thank you for that, Your Honor. And so my argument is essentially, I was clocked for 31 and a 25. My understanding is that based on these school zone or speed infractions from cameras, that it's programmed to issue a ticket anything of 6 miles per hour to 10 miles per hour above the speed limit is what was listed online. I believe I was not going 31. Actually,
I don't know where you're getting that, because
it's on in the violation.
it's not just 6 to 10, because you could be going 20 over and it's going to.
Oh,
register.
sorry. 6 to 10 for the first fine, and then 11 miles per hour or more subject to a higher fines.
Okay,
Sorry,
gotcha.
I should clarify that. So, and I've also done a lot of research looking at, the accuracy of these radar signs, and everything that I've come across mentions that the margin of error is within ±1, even ±2 miles per hour. So my argument is that unless this is 100% accurate to the mile per hour, if I had been clocked 1 mile per hour slower, I would not be issued a ticket. So my argument is based on
Oh, sweet
the fact that
Jesus.
this radar gun would have to be 100% accurate, or if I was going 1 mile per hour slower, I shouldn't be giving a ticket in this case.
No, dummy, no.
Any other argument?
Like a good one.
That's it.
That's the argument. Okay. So, Mr. Watford, I think when you're looking at these, the radar guns and the calibrations and maintenance, I don't know if you looked up the devices that were used to measure your vehicle. Did you review the records in your specific case?
I saw that. Yeah, I saw the records of calibration had been done on the device. Correct.
Okay. And so the requirement is not that there is 100% accuracy, and it's not the officers. The program has set a threshold that they are looking, and they did in fact get a reading that was 6 miles per hour over. It's whether or not the radar device itself is within the range. There may be slight deviations, but there are multiple checks that are done on the vehicles. And if those are within the range of error, then it's a valid and working radar device. So that's why they are maintained and calibrated. And if you looked at those devices, they go through numerous
I
tests.
did. Yeah, I don't think I'm arguing whether they had been calibrated appropriately. What I'm arguing is because there's nothing that mentioned that they are accurate to 1 mile per hour difference. And that's what I could not find in any place. And that's the crux of the argument there, is that unless it's accurate to 1 mile per hour, it could have said 31, where in actuality, I could have been going 30, and therefore it would not fire off a ticket at all. That's
But
the
it
argument.
did register, I think what we're talking about different things. It did register you driving at 26 or 31, so it's 6 over.
Right. So I guess what I'm
That
saying
doesn't
is,
mean that if you were 5 over, if you looked at any range of error, that you would be within the speed limit. Do you
I
understand what I'm saying? You're still exceeding the speed limit. It's
right.
not saying that you are fine if you're within 5. The
It
radar
just
device
says,
is detecting, and it's been calibrated to within the degree of certainty that's necessary.
what it's saying is that I would not be subjected to a fine if I'm not over that 6 mile per hour difference. That's what it's saying. No fine, whether it's 25 up to 30, that would not constitute receiving a fine. If I was going 30 miles per hour, based on what you guys have documented, question 5, what is the amount of the fine? It starts at that 6 to 10 or 11 miles per hour.
Well, that's
above.
actually talking about the school zone. So
Yep.
That's a different, this is a school walk zone. So that's a different statute that it's looking at.
It's the same one. It's the only statute that applies here. Yeah, because there's nothing else that would apply to my case here. It's a school zone. I was ticketed for going through a school walk zone. The speed limit is different because it's not school hours, so it's not 20 miles per hour, it's 25, but still the same thing. For what I'm being ticketed, my understanding is that it applies. A vehicle exceeding the posted speed limit by 6 mile per hour to 10 mile per hour will be subject to a fine of $145, and a vehicle exceeding the posted speed limit by 11 plus mile per hour will be subject to a fine of $290. Nothing about 5.
That's only when the school zone is
less.
active.
Who else is wishing that the
That's the
Chisinator was on this race?
290 is only for an active school zone.
It doesn't say that either. It just says, okay.
Are you looking at the RCWs and the Lake Forest Park municipal codes? That's what's going to govern. There's also extensive information on the police department's website that would provide you with a lot of guidance.
Are you able to share that? Because I'm still not clear.
It's just
why.
on their website. I'm not sure. You're saying you're looking at.
I'm looking at the violationinfo.com, and then it breaks down it's like under frequently asked questions, and it starts with what is the City of Lake Forest Park photo enforcement program, and it goes through a number of questions. I'm referring to question 5.
Okay.
And
So
I can read it.
No, so that's the.
Because this, I'm pretty sure, is what is applying to my case. It doesn't mention anything about whether the school zone is active or not. It just speaks on a speed infraction captured in a school zone.
Okay, so this.
Oh, here we go. Here we go. It says a school zone speed infraction is implemented at 2 levels. A vehicle exceeding.
This is not a school zone. This is a school walk zone. So it's kind of a different animal. So you're looking at specifics for the penalty that isn't applying to your situation.
Wait, it's not a school zone. It's a school walk. How would that differ? How can you have a school zone?
You look at the statute. The school zone is defined differently than a school walk zone, which is a 1 mile perimeter around. If you look at the RCW, so you'd have to do some research on that.
So what you're saying then, I guess, is that any
penalty, no matter what you were going, it would be 145. When that school beacon is not flashing, if you were going 20 more, it would still be a $145 penalty.
Are you able to show me that? Because I looked everywhere. I couldn't find that anywhere. And I've dug deeply into a lot of this stuff. And first off, I would never have interpreted, I would assume a school walk zone is a school zone. That seems very intuitive to me. I don't know how you would expect other patrons to know that difference. That seems like a very small nuance there that would be unclear to me.
It's what the state legislature has set out for photo enforcement. They provide where it can happen, and they distinguish between a school zone violation and a school walk zone violation. They distinguish between speeding in parks or hospital zones, traffic.
So this picture has a school sign in it. It says school and the speed limit. You're telling me that's does not constitute a school zone.
That says it's 20 when it's flashing, but as we know from looking at your video, it was not flashing. The
Well, that's not your-
area is a 25-mile-per-hour speed limit. You were
Yeah.
exceeding the 25-mile-per-hour speed limit, not 20.
But I thought what you were right. But I thought we're going back to what I was arguing. Right, was I was arguing that the ticket kicks off for 6 mile per hour to 11 or to 10 or
No,
11 or
that's if it's flashing.
yeah. I'm just trying to. It doesn't say that though. It doesn't say that anywhere. And I would say if you're going to enforce that, it should at the very least mention that because I'm not arguing that my speed limit went over 20. I have it clear. The posted speed was 25 and the actual speed was 31. But what I'm arguing is that there's nothing when you're talking about the penalty for that. I received a penalty for $145, which says that a speed limit going 6 to 10 greater would constitute that. And I'm arguing that I was going, say, 5 over, and there's a margin of error in those when you're using these speed detectors, even if they are calibrated perfectly, they just may not be accurate to 1 mile per hour specifically. That's what I'm arguing.
Well,
and so
they would not have passed the calibration if they were not within the appropriate range, right? If it fails, and so it's not 100% accurate. And if you look at any of the calibrations, they're going to be within. So show me specifically for your device where it was not within the correct zone. I don't think you can do that because it passed the calibrations.
Right. What I'm saying is even with your calibration, because I would assume you still have to prove that I'm driving fast enough. I would say from your even with looking at your calibrations, nowhere in that does it mention that it is accurate to 1 mile per hour. That's the difference in this. That's the make or break deal in this case. If the ticket is for over 6 mile per hour, which it doesn't say that, it doesn't specify outside of school or not. And I see school clearly listed on the sign, assuming that a school walk zone has to fall in a school zone.
It's within a 1 mile per hour rate. I think you needed to probably look at more of.
Well, that's what I was asking. If you are able to show me that, because even going back that calibration thing, there's no, I don't think you can say it's accurate to 1 mile per hour, because I don't think that's anywhere. And I don't think legally the best devices have been shown to be accurate to 1 mile per hour.
If you wished to subpoena the speed measuring device person to speak to this, you could have done that for your contested hearing, but you didn't. We have the public records that are posted, and you're not presenting those as showing that they're outside the range because they did pass the calibrations. So for that, it would be denied. If you look at the RCW, if you look at that, it sets out what is allowed by statute and what the city of Lake Forest Park has adopted.
Right. So I just want to clarify what we're saying here, because I didn't subpoena because I thought it was actually not, I didn't know how you would prove that it was accurate to 1 mile per hour. I almost think that's like very difficult to argue, even with calibration. Many things are calibrated, but you always calibrate to something.
You didn't know how to prove it.
Whether you calibrate a blood test or a speedometer in the car, to 1 mile per hour is a very accurate thing. And I still not clear the difference you were saying by, like, I would have gotten a ticket if this was a school zone. I would not get the ticket because if I was going less than 6 over, but because
I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying that the radar detected your vehicle and
at 31
and
at 25,
which was 6 miles over, right? Yep. So it detected that. There may be some variance in the radar detection,
but that's the key, though, right? That variance
but that doesn't mean that you aren't speeding. So you understand that the radar is detecting. It's not 100%. Otherwise, everyone would be able to say, well, it's just, I don't know, there might be some variation.
No, I'm not saying everybody. I'm saying because I looked through all the devices. I'm saying I've seen 1 up to 2 mile per hour difference. So everyone can't say that.
Was that on your device? Was that on the radar that was used? Because you're not presenting me with that.
well, that's what I'm asking. I'm asking, are you able to show me where your radar is different from all the other standards? Because I can see here, I mean, I have different brands and things here, and they all say 1 to 2. And what it even says here is that
He doesn't need to show you squat.
What are you looking at?
the estimated margin of error for most radar guns is between 1 to 2 miles per hour.
What
Excessive.
are you reading, Mr. Watford?
Oh, this is
I
on.
don't-
Why
I don't
is
know
she
what you're
indulging
reading.
this?
Oh, sorry. This is just a Google
There's no
search online
foundation.
looking
He's
at
not an
radars.
expert. Piss
But
off.
I've seen it on multiple sites. I've never seen. What I'm telling you is I have not seen one source say it is that a radar gun is accurate to 1 mile per hour.
Yeah, don't
That's
care.
what I'm saying. I can't find it, and I'm asking
Okay,
if
did you
Yes,
look
we
at the
weren't looking for
radar
it.
gun in this case to look at specifics? And if you wanted to challenge the
I did, and it didn't
findings
say.
there,
And it didn't. It just said it was calibrated. It did not say anything about it being accurate to 1 mile per hour. That's all I have to look at. And then I don't have anything beyond it because you don't publish that on your device. It's not published how accurate it is to the mile per hour, but it does show the records of each date and time that it's been calibrated.
okay, and then did you look at the certification from the speed measuring expert of what they had for calibrating and certifying?
I didn't dig that deep, no,
Okay,
because again, you're talking about 1 mile per hour and you're arguing that you're either saying it is accurate to that degree or it's not. Therefore,
I'm going to deny your motion. This information is online. You have not presented me with information.
well, I was just asking one other thing, Your Honor.
Okay.
Are you able to show me that online? Just with the screen share, you show me the other evidence. I was just asking.
Show
if
you
could
what is it online that you want me to show you?
the piece of information that you were telling me I should have looked at before presenting my argument. I guess that it's accurate, or that the calibration is up to date, or whatever the pieces that you're telling me that I
He's not your attorney.
would debunk the argument that it is actually not accurate to 1
Well, I'm
mile per hour.
asking you, Mr. Watford, if you looked at the actual device that was used in your case and looked at the calibration and the certification and the maintenance records on the device used in yours, not a Google search of radars in general.
I did. I looked at it, and I forget where I found it, but I looked at the calibration records. I did look at that, and it showed that it was. I am assuming, I don't remember how frequently you have to calibrate it, but I think it had been checked within a reasonable time from when. I don't have any other information from that's provided beyond that online for you guys. But I did see the calibration records, yes.
Well, then
and I'm not arguing that it wasn't calibrated. I'm just arguing that nowhere in there does it say that it is accurate to 1 mile per hour. And then therefore my argument was that if I was going 5 over or 4 over or 3 over, for example, it wouldn't fire a ticket. And there is some degree of margin of error with any instrument, particularly with a standing speed sign or an active officer using it in those cases, and therefore would not have triggered a ticket under that 6 mile per hour. Basically saying if there is some error there, which all the sources I've looked at mentioned that up to 1 mile per hour to 2 mile per hour, there's a margin of error there. That was the crux of my argument. I didn't dig deeper because I did not see the need for that, not finding any documentation that any radar is accurate to 1 mile per hour.
Okay, so if you go through and look at all the materials that are posted on the website, and if you looked at the police department's information, which is extensive about the photo enforcement program and how it reads the speed of the vehicles.
Yeah.
And the radar devices. Let's see if I can pull this up.
I really try to do my due diligence and looked for, the accuracy measures there, and I didn't see them, and I'm not saying it's possible I could have missed it, but I didn't come across it at all, and I think that's why I was asking if you had it at hand. I just saw the vehicle exceeding the posted speed limit by 6 to 10 miles per hour be subject to the fine of $145, which is what I was given, or the exceeding the posted speed limit by 11 plus miles per hour. So I'm arguing basically that if it's not accurate to 1 mile per hour, it's possible that I did not commit the crime to the degree that would warrant a fine, per se, I guess is what. I certainly do think I was going slower than 31 miles per hour, which is why I did want to contest it, but. And I'm not arguing that I was going less than 25. That's not what I'm trying to argue. I'm not saying that there's that degree of margin of error, but I do think it was within 5. And I guess the source I was looking at, I thought it was pretty clear that it was 6 to 10 over warrants the fine there.
That's for the school zone.
But it doesn't, you see that it doesn't clarify that anywhere in those frequently asked questions, and I read the whole
The
thing.
frequently asked questions are not the law. So if you looked at the RCW, if you looked at the ordinance, that is the law.
No, I know. It's what you guys
right?
provide, though. It's like it's like the thing right under
Well,
your evidence. It's like the
the
next
evidence
link.
that's listed is the statute and the ordinance.
So I don't see anywhere about that school zone part. Like, if I'm clicking in the link that you provided, frequently asked questions, that falls like right on that thing when you share the screen, right when you show me the pictures and the videos, it's right below that. And so anyone's going to assume it applies to your case. And it's not crazy. I'm reading it here and I'm like,
no,
it says school.
But does it talk about if it's frequently asked questions, is probably covering the red light enforcement. So it's kind of all encompassing.
Oh, no, and it's not. It does talk about the red light or speed infraction.
Yeah, so
sorry, let me clarify. It says or a speed infraction, parentheses, not captured in a school zone, close parentheses, is 145. And you're saying this is not a school zone. Is that what you said?
This is a school walk zone.
But it does not count as a school zone.
This is the speed enforcement, but not in a school zone. So it's not for the reduced 20 miles per hour. It's a speeding ticket.
So how can a school zone be a school walk zone, not be in a school zone, right? How is that possible? You can't put a school walk in outside of a school zone.
Oh my God, dummy! It's so possible.
Parameters around. So
That's not fair, Your Honor, right? No, would you agree that?
Read the law, Mr. Watford. You are presumed to know the law.
It's not.
We don't get to just say we can't figure it out. So it's listed and the information.
But Your Honor, I'm not. This isn't like a case that's like. I'm a very capable individual at reading and things, and this.
You're dumb as a stump, and you're embarrassing yourself, Daniel. I don't know how to put this to you. I don't know what profession you're in, but literally, I would refuse to do business with you going forward.
Doesn't seem like a school. You're telling me the walk zone is not in a school zone. That's a semantics, right? Like anyone's going to assume a school walk zone and a school zone are the same.
You may, but it's two different things, and it's presented in different places by the legislature. So that's how they've chosen to permit it. That's how they phrase it. They have different definitions. And so if I'm looking at the calibrations, which are online, the speed measuring devices are certified accurate within plus or minus half of a mile per hour. So it is within the 1 mile per hour that you are arguing. And so each of the devices.
But it wouldn't be 6 over. If it's 5.5 over, right? That's not going to send a ticket. It has to be.
It's whether or not.
Right, but you're saying.
Accurate reading.
Exactly.
Mr. Watford, I am ruling against you. I'm finding.
But you're not.
Preponderance.
No, but that's. You just told me it's accurate to half a mile per hour. You just said that.
And you said it had to be accurate within a mile, that it was not possible. These are calibrated within.
Right. So my ticket is for 36 miles or for 31, right? So if it's actually 35 and a half, that half a mile difference, it's not 6 over, which would send the ticket, which would send the fine. It would be 5.5 different, not 6, which would not prompt.
You are more than welcome to file an appeal and take this up if you like. I would highly recommend that you read the law before you do that.
The one last thing I
Certainly
would
do
say,
that. And if you
I
go
would do
on
that.
and look at the devices, you'll need to look and use specificity.
The one last thing I would ask, and I'm perfectly fine with doing that. Thank you, Your Honor. I'm happy to.
You're welcome.
Are you able to just show me that definition of the school zone, if you have that, or are you able to show me that this does not constitute a school zone? Or wait,
Are you talking,
that it does constitute a
if
school
you
zone?
look at the,
If she answers this, I'm going to lose my freaking mind. No, you're not entitled to ask me questions. The fact that you don't understand the law is your problem.
photo enforcement law, and you can do your own research, but you have to look it up in the RCW.
I would just want to show
will
you
see
this.
how they have
Thank
delineated it.
God, she got there.
Okay, so,
I
but that,
cannot read your screen. I don't
okay,
know.
let me, you know, are you able to pull up, you have that frequently asked question there, the question 5? I just
I'm
want to
not
clear.
looking at the frequently asked questions. I'm looking at the actual, the law.
Oh, can you show me that? I'm sorry, then that might be better to look at than this. I didn't have that. That might be the better option to look at if you have that, because it just looks like not captured in a school zone. Yeah, it just doesn't otherwise make sense. It seems like that penalty applies there. And what you're saying is that any mile per hour over that is in a school zone constitutes
I'm not saying that at
that
all.
same
I'm
fine.
saying that you were detected by radar as exceeding the posted speed limit.
Yeah,
As the notice of infraction noted, it was 25 miles per hour. You were found by radar, which has been calibrated.
within
and
half a degree,
maintained.
a half a mile per hour, you said, right?
Mhm. And
So
I'm going to find that is accurate.
are you acknowledging the part about what prompts to send the fine or not? That's the key there. That's the big key here, right? You're saying you're not saying that. I want to clarify that.
I don't know what you're talking about, that there would not be a fine.
Okay,
don't
it
think
says a
that's the
vehicle
thing.
exceeding the posted speed limit by 6 mile per hour - 10 mile per hour. So 6 to 10 mile per hour will be subject to a fine of
Again,
145.
that's a school zone, and they're looking at
Yeah,
whether or not they're going to double that. That's not saying that you're not able to be assessed a fine.
it talks about doubling it too. It says over 11 miles per hour more than
That's
this.
not for a speed walk zone violation.
Got it. So what I'm asking is,
Are you understanding what I'm saying?
I
That it's
think
not-
so. I
Okay,
think that's why I'm trying to
you keep
clarify that.
repeating.
You're saying that this school walk zone is a school zone?
The school walk zone is a 1 mile radius around.
Because
If
this
you
is
look at
calling it,
4663-210, the RCW, that spells out the different definitions of the areas in which photo enforcement is permitted.
because this says a school zone speed infraction is implemented at 2 levels. A vehicle exceeding the posted speed of 6 to 10 or going over 11 miles per hour. So you're saying that this is not a school zone, so it does not apply to those rules. Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying that it falls under RCW 4663-210 sub 7, which is a
Mhm.
school walk zone. Sub 6 deals with a school zone. And it says that has the same meaning as 4661-440, 1 and 2. So
Does that affect the fine, how the fines are given? Because does that speak on how fines, because this seems to talk about specifically how
photo
fines are administered.
enforcement, cities are permitted to impose penalties up to $145, and that it can be doubled when it's in a school zone. It can't be doubled in a school walk zone. It can be doubled in a school speed zone.
But anything
Does not
about
apply
how,
to you.
so
Okay,
nothing about the
so-
difference in speed there. Because why specify it here if it doesn't, if you don't specify it in other cases? You specify here, posted speed limit by exceeding it by 6 to 10 miles per
Mr.
hour.
Watford?
Yeah.
I'm not going to belabor this anymore. The enforcement in this area is not set by me. It's set by the city council and the
Mhm.
police department. They
Yeah.
have determined that they are going to double the penalties as they are permitted to do by the legislature. And they've chosen to do that when the speed limit is 11 or more over. They
That's
double.
not what I'm arguing, and I don't think that
I'm
applies
not
to
going to go
me.
into it anymore, but you keep talking about the amount. And
Because you're not talking about my case. You're talking about doubling in a school zone. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about what factors into you getting a fine. And I'm reading it here, 6 to 10.
I have done,
and you're
I
not-
have ruled, it says if you've exceeded the speed,
By
a
how much?
penalty of up to $145 can be imposed, and that is what has been imposed in your case. I'm finding it committed. I'm imposing the 145. I find it was committed by a preponderance. I find that you are talking about two different things.
I'm not.
You
I'm
are
talking
more
about
than
one
welcome
thing.
to appeal, but we are done on this
I was
case.
talking about one very specific thing, Your Honor, and I think
Yeah,
you heard
and
my
I think
point.
that
But
we have gone over it repeatedly.
all right, can I
So-
write down that pursuant or law that I need to look at and review?
Well, if you want to look at the definitions, because you keep asking about the
I do,
difference,
yeah.
4660.
You already lost.
That's RCW
Yes,
46.
doing it
Say it one more
again?
time. I'm sorry.
46.63.210.
210. And this is what, and this is for a non-school zone, school
No,
walk
this
zone.
is going to explain to you the difference between all the different areas.
For my case, what you're ruling based on is a non-school zone,
It's a school walk zone.
which is different
Under
from
sub 7. Yes,
a school zone.
yes, read that. When you do that, it will make more sense to you.
Yeah.
All right, so that is the end of your hearing. I want to confirm that I have the right address for you.
Yeah, this wasn't fair though, Your Honor, but that's fine.
That's my ruling,
Yeah,
and
but I think you think it was fair. You did.
Oh.
I understand you don't think it's fair. So I am going to send updated information. I have an address on 4th in Bothell.
Can I send this same, can I respond to this same notice then, or do I need to wait for additional documentation to come before sending payment or appealing?
Appealings.
If you want to file an appeal, you have 30 days to do so. Information about doing that is online, as well as
Good job, Dan. You always want to preserve your appealings. Sweet Jesus, this guy thinks he's smart.
looking at the infraction rules. So you can go online and do research on the rules for courts of limited jurisdiction and dial down into the infraction rules. That will guide you. Okay?
Okay.
So if you want to make payment online, you can do that later. You can also wait, and we'll send you information that will give you your options. Okay.
And then I'm just giving you one other thing. I think for future preference, not for me or for anybody else, it may
we don't
be
care.
worth adjusting that, clarifying the language in that frequently asked, because it's readily available, and it's the first thing to click right after you look at your evidence. It may be worth clarifying
it may be good for you to go back and watch Schoolhouse Rock and learn how laws are made, and maybe learn that the branches are separate. And she's in the judiciary, okay? She's not in the legislative branch, and you need to shut your hole.
Right there, because that's really pertinent information, right? Whether it's a school walk zone versus a school zone. It may just be worth putting that in there to save any confusion, because I don't think I'm a dumb guy by any means. And
I don't think you're dumb at all, Mr. Watford.
Yeah.
But I think we're done talking at this point. So I am going to go on to the next case, because we have a number of people who are waiting.
We all need to weigh in here.
You're welcome. Destiny Went, 2501-29171.
I'm here.
Well, that was just excruciating. I'm a little slap happy. That one went on for longer than I thought. When it first started, I'm like, nothing's going on. Why did Alyssa do this? And then we saw the license plate, and I'm like, okay, it's worth it for that alone. And then we saw the big, embarrassing crybaby meltdown that lasted a half hour. Now that it was excruciating, but hilarious at the same time. Thank you all for coming out. I appreciate it. I will see you soon.